Hello, people. We have quite a few people already waiting, and I have a couple guests coming on today. One of them I was trying to get my link to, and I was having issues. So, what I did is they're going to come into the chat room, and I'll drop them a link in a little bit. But I'm waiting on a guest to come in, and we're going to talk about this whole thing, the legal side of what's going on with the lawsuit between Angel Gotti and Gene Borrello. There's a lot of things in motion here. Okay. But I'm gonna first put to rest a couple clowns. Last night attacking me, calling me a rat and stuff. You have these three shows combining now. Tony, this other clown, Johnny Mac, and FBS. And FBS is even bringing his wife in on it. Let me explain to you what they're doing. Their shows are in trouble. Their views are going down tremendously. They need something. They have nothing. They can't talk to you about nothing. They don't know anybody. So I'm going to present to you stuff that I know right now that's actually going on with this case because I speak to people. And I'm not just one of these people right here that just hears things. I actually speak to people. These other shows, they're not shows anymore. I mean, the only way they can get you to watch is by attacking people. And when you're attacked, when someone's being attacked, it's a good thing because it's all about how many people are watching your show. If I don't keep you guys happy, you're not going to watch this. That's what it comes down to. And I appreciate everything that you guys do for me. And even the people that come on here that don't really agree with me, I appreciate what you do. You know, the key is anybody's welcome in here from any of these other shows, as long as they're respectable. If they want to ask tough questions, if they want to give their opinions, they're more than welcome to do so. As long as they're not, you know, the word is simps. That's the word we use, simps. And I'm going to let more people get in here right now. We're 84 and rising. And yesterday, we were at 250 all day. My one show yesterday equaled two shows of that clown. So these are things they notice they don't like. But that's just the way it goes. If you put up stuff that people want to watch, they're going to watch you. But if you put up stuff where all you do is attack people, come on. And I want to talk to you about this whole case going on because, as you know, my name's in a few of the parts of the lawsuit. And yes, I will be given a deposition. And no, nobody knows what I'm going to be giving in that deposition, including the people on here that pretend they do. Remember, there's always two sides to every story, then there's the truth. And right now, what you're going to do is you're going to have people go out here and give their side of the story. And that's what's going on right now. You got people giving their side of the story. Was there bad things done in this? Yes. But there was bad things done to everybody in this, including this person. So we have to remember that. It's not one-sided like people are making it sound. That's the funny thing. We have all these gangsters with gangsters' names and stuff. And what do they want to do? They want to go into a courtroom. It reminds me of when The Sopranos was on in one episode where Frankie Walnut says, God damn it, I wanted to go to war and they want to go to court. And that's what happens. Ali Chabar, how cute the Gotti family using the system. Thank you, Ali. I appreciate that. Listen, they have the right to use the system. That's the reality. But if you're going to be part of this, be part of this. Don't get mad and sue people. But, you got to remember, Angel wasn't part of this at one time when all this was going on. She's just recently become part of this. And I'm not defending Angel because Angel doesn't really care for me, and it's a two-way street. But she has the right to use the courts, just like Gene Borrello has the right to defend himself. And right away, you can't just condemn Gene Borrello and say he's guilty because because his name is Gene Borrello. So that means anybody that was a criminal or did bad things in their life can be attacked at any time. That's not the way our system works. So Gene Borrello went out and hired Doug Anton. Doug Anton represented many people, many famous people. He's a really good lawyer. Doug Anton seems to believe that this case will not hold up in court, just by what he's looked at it. What gets me is when people file court charges or court complaints, and they did it without talking to me. They just assume that, okay, I'm just going to sit back and be part of this court complaint and not defend myself. But when I'm in several areas, and then you got that clown over there with his goofy wife, goofy wife, reading the lawsuit and making up shit, that's when you have issues, because they're being used by a certain people to attack me. And it tears them up that my show is doing well. Yesterday, we got 10,000 hits on the website. And that was, and most of those hits on the website was because of this being in the newspaper. I've been getting more hits on my website than I do here at YouTube on a regular basis. Okay. Well, I'm going to bring in someone who's a pretty smart guy. When it comes to law, I think he's smarter than me. He researched this, and he's going to give his opinion about what he thinks about this lawsuit. We have not spoken about what he thinks about this lawsuit. He's going to give his honest opinion, where it stands. We have 160 in here already, people. I'll tell you, man, you guys just jumping right in here. Okay, I'm going to bring on Tom LaVecchia. And let me understand. So when Tom comes on here, what you're going to do is you're going to have some clowns attack him tonight. But see, Tom LaVecchia is like me. He doesn't really care. And he's an honest guy. He just comes out here and he'll say what he has to say. Let me rephrase that. Tom's a lot more honest than me. But with that, let me bring Tom on. Tom, how you doing?
Well, Lee, how are you?
You getting ready for the Super Bowl?
Yes, the old school Lawrence Taylor. Granted, New York is nowhere near the Super Bowl this year, but I'm hoping to project for next year.
I love that picture in the background. What a great set for the back of, for you speaking right there.
Thank you. My lovely wife picked it out. I take zero credit for it.
So you see a lot going on, Tom, as I'm sure you see everything that's going on. And I want to ask you, sometimes when people file lawsuits and put them out, they think they're going to win automatically, but they don't understand lawsuits are complicated.
Yeah, they are.
Very complicated. And there's a lot of things you got to prove.
Correct.
So and just so you know, I have not asked you your opinion of this lawsuit. Am I correct?
No.
Okay. So anything you say to me now is between me and you.
Correct.
And you did a little research, right?
Oh, yeah. And I'm somewhat familiar with some of the players as well.
Okay. So what is your opinion on this lawsuit in general?
Okay. Well, so it's a loaded question. So I want to, first start off with my, understanding of the history. So obviously, and this is published in 2015-ish, 16-ish. There was a New York Post article that talked about the Twitter wars amongst the mob. So it was kind of two factions. You had the John Gotti Jr. and again, some people may have acted on his behalf or not, right? So he can't, for example, thank you. So he somehow, for example, can't control anybody who follows him. Same token, you had Johnny A. Light And then he obviously was very critical of John Jr. So there was a lot of going back and forth. I mean, almost I think to this day, right? So that kind of gives the history of it. So now you land on the Johnny and Gene show. Gene is from Howard Beach, where the Gottis are from. And then my understanding of some of the research or some of the people that I spoke to is there was a lot of shots over the bow against Gene specifically when the Johnny and G show started. And then it's alleged, and then we'll see what happens with the lawsuit. It's not public, but my sources indicate that they also were going after Gene. So with that being said, again, this is all alleged. Just giving what I people that I speak to that I trust, that I try to get the best information that I can, and that my understanding, Gene shot back, and then the question is in what way, and then that, as I understand, spawned the lawsuit.
Yeah, and have you read the lawsuit at all?
I haven't read the lawsuit, the transcripts and everything, what was submitted, or the complaint is called. I haven't read that yet. Again, I did speak to some people that were a little bit more knowledgeable of me. I'm not a lawyer. I don't claim to be a lawyer. I do on some websites. So I'm very familiar with the defamation laws, the libel laws, that kind of stuff. In this case, it would be slander, because I think it's mostly verbalized. I think there's some memes that were done. And the reason why this case is really, really interesting is there is kind of two things at play here. The first is free speech, right, which we all covet, right? So if I don't like you, Lee, hey, you're a bad dude, you're this, you're that, you're an idiot, all these things, right? And they could be my opinion, right? That's okay. I have the right to do that, I have the right to criticize, and that's more than okay, right? But then where it gets defamatory, if you will, and if I just want to just look my notes, my understanding is there's 4 or 5 elements for defamation, right? So number one is a statement has to be false, right? It has to be untrue. Number 2, it has to be published somewhere, right? It's got to be like YouTube, Instagram, etc. The third is, you got to prove that it wasn't negligence, meaning did you do it on accident? Which in this case, I think it was purposeful. And then the third is, did it cause injury or harm? And that's where I think it's tricky. So where like kind of asking for money comes in a complaint. And listen. So again, 2 forces out here: right to free speech versus the right to protect your name, which Angel Gotti is doing in the suit. So again, my understanding was the origin of it was with Johnny A-Light podcast. They kind of allegedly got on, according to my source, they got on Gene first. He shot back with some really harsh stuff in the complaint. That my understanding is it alleges that he had some Instagram accounts, YouTube, and some other accounts that were defamatory towards Angel. And she responded with a $10 million lawsuit.
Okay. And so what do you know of Doug Anton, who Gene Borrello has gone out and hired, and most likely is going to countersue?
I could only take your word that he retained Doug. I haven't spoke to Gene about it. I don't have confirmation of that. So working on the assumption of your word that he's going to retain Doug. Doug is a very capable attorney. He's got, not that high profile clients qualify you, but he was R. Kelly's attorney. I had the pleasure of having cigars with Doug multiple times over at J&R Cigars in North Jersey. A very, very capable attorney. If somebody were to approach me and ask for a recommendation for this type thing, he would be on the short list.
Well, he's seen the lawsuit, and the first thing that he said is he says that he'd have no trouble taking it apart. So, that's a quote. So if he makes a quote like that, why do you think he would make a quote like that? If he's a legal mind, he looks at it and he says, I'll tear this apart. Why do you think he would say something?
Here's the thing, and this is any indictment against Doug or any attorneys. I'm gonna speak the facts. So I don't want to get I want to join today. I don't want to get text messages. I don't want to get a ton of comments on my email and my channel. I'll kind of stick to the fact pattern, right? So number one is these proceedings are very expensive. It's not unheard of that if you're getting sued or suing and asking for $10,000 retainer just to start. So these are very expensive proceedings for both parties. So obviously Angel, that's her prerogative, decides to retain an attorney, whatever deal they have, they work it out. But nevertheless, it's an expensive proposition. The other part people don't really realize is it's a mentally draining proposition, because this is more than likely, as it already has, starting to play out in the media. So there might be leaked sources, there might be disinformation, misinformation. God knows what the mob tube universe is going to do with it. So it's frustrating, and then you got to run to your attorney. Hey, so and so said this, or I heard that. So it's going to be mentally draining and physically draining, whether it be appearances, court, and so forth. So 95% of these things do not end up in court. They tend to either be settled or they go to some type of mediation. Now, you may ask, well, why the $10 million number, right? That could go about one of two ways. It might be a strategic decision, or that's scary. It's a lot of money. That'll wipe you out. I'm serious. And you know what? I'd be willing to settle for, maybe only $200,000, right? I can't speak to their legal strategy, nor will I say what they're doing. That's their business. But I'm just giving you what kind of these options are. The other option are, and this is where I think the nexus of this lies, right? So here's what's interesting. When you speak about injury, right, it could be physical, or it could be, which generally is not criminal in that case, but it could be economic, or your reputation, which results in economic or whatever. And it's not as simple as saying, well, you know what, I lost a big client, or I had this and I had a show and I got knocked off a show. It's also opportunity cost. And again, I'm only speaking just as an example. Let's say Angel had a book deal. Let's say she had a series. Let's say she just had something on the hook, right? That's just giving an example. And for whatever reason, somebody's looking around, they see all this kind of disinformation or false information. And a result of that, the producer or the publishing house says, you know what, I'm going to rescind my contract. I'm going to go a different direction. Now, she didn't lose any money out of her pocket in terms of that, but lost opportunity, which could have been, a 6 or 7 figure book deal or a 6 or 7 figure movie. So that's another way they might calculate injury and say, hey, we want $10 million because this is what we may have lost. But again, it's a high bar to prove. Is it free speech or is it defamatory? Is it true? That's the other part too, which is a little tricky. Is the number one defense against slander and libel is the truth. Is the truth. So when you say X, Y, and Z, sometimes you have to kind of prove that it's untrue versus true. Because if it's true, then it's not libel. But again, one another little twist. If
Let me ask you
really quick, because it's important. If
let me
there's
ask you a question.
information, hold on, so 1 second to promise. If there's privilege information, again, making this up. If there's like HIPAA, something under HIPAA, and it's about me, let's say, and it's true, but like it's released without my authorization and used to harm me, like a sex tape even could be one of those things, or it's certain revenge porn, whatever that is. That could also fall under the statute of defamation, even if it's true. So this is like some serious stuff.
Okay. Let me ask you a question. Okay. So say some phone calls are used by me, and no one ever talked to me about it. It was never discussed. And then when the lawsuit's filed, basically nothing's still discussed with me. Nothing's like, oh, we want you to help us in the case. We want to give you a deposition, and nothing like that happens.
Well, remember, the filing of the complaint is the initial action that's needed, and that's the predecessor of doing everything you said. So you have to file the complaint, and then you do that. Now, I watched your show yesterday. I have a great 1-year-old running around here, so I was a little distracted yesterday, even a little bit now. But my understanding is I think they used your tapes as evidence towards it, correct?
Yes.
Okay. So if they're in possession of said tapes, depending on how they acquired them, they can use them and not tell you. Now, more than likely, I'm going to guess you will probably be brought in for the defense, prosecution. People that are trying to get on Angel's half, or both. But yeah, they don't need to tell you if they have possession of it. Now, what's tricky is if you recorded a conversation, and again, this is like a soccer ball. I love that. If again, it goes into, are you both in one party consent states, and that kind of, there's a whole bunch of what state were you in and what state was he in, and again, and somebody said must share the evidence. So that would fall under in the discovery process as well.
Okay, so here's how I look at it. There's a lot more behind this stuff than people are being told.
I always is.
Everything has two sides, and then there's the truth, as we know, and that's what's going on here. People are jumping on sides, not knowing the full story, and I'm in possession of the full story. So, I'm going to put it out there the best I can, but not on here. I'm going to wait until the legal means happens, and so the people that are foolishly making up their own stories, like this clown, be careful what you put out there, because you're going to look like a fool in the end.
Well, that's all. So I think this lends itself, and I think this is going to be either a hallmark case if it goes to the end, or however it ends up. I think it's going to be a learning for all of us. You're a creator, which is great. You have the First Amendment, which is great, right? But there's certain limitations on kind of what you can say and what you can't. And, again, also, from Angel's perspective, hey, you know what? I want to defend my name, or I want to defend my likeness, or my whatever, right? Or her family's name, and it really be interesting how it shakes out. But I got to say, this probably will play out in the media somewhat. One thing I disagree with, this is just my personal opinion. I heard some rumblings that this is going to jam Gene up in March. This is a civil proceeding. Now, granted, there may be some media stuff. Obviously, JTP always talks about it. This stuff should not play out in the media. I don't think you need a jury to get, a sentence. Is the judge going to see this? I don't know. Can it influence the judge? I don't know. But this should be exempt from a criminal proceeding and sentencing.
Yeah. And there's a lot of, people have to understand, there's a lot of ugly stuff with all this. And, and it's been ugly stuff ever since the John and Gene show started. And in not one direction. It's just a lot of ugly stuff. There's been a lot of things said here that has been pretty horrible by all sides. So before people take sides, let everything come out. Okay, you got your little minions running around here putting out stuff, but they don't know what they're talking about. They're just reading stuff, and they have no idea what they're talking about.
Here's where it gets a little tricky and kind of related to what we do. So there is yourself, right? And then there's people that directly act on your behalf, right? You say, hey, do this. And then there's people that are indirectly act on your behalf, and you have no control of those people, right? But the truth of the matter is, you really need to watch what you say, especially if you have an audience or a following or subscribers, because they may act on your behalf. And the best part is, they think they're doing you a favor, or they think they're helping you, because they're like, oh my God, I love Lee, or I love so-and-so. So I some of these comments, there's like, they're going so quick. And just so you know, as a guest, it's different for me than having my show. I don't read a lot of the comments, but when I do, I was called like a soccer ball and some other stuff. I'm gonna say something crazy. I'm gonna probably get some stuff thrown at me. I hope they're able to sit down and negotiate some type of amicable settlement on all parties, so they can just move on and hopefully resolve it before it goes too far.
Well, some people got mad at me yesterday because I gave my opinion that a lot of this is being done to try to provoke the judge to send Gene back to prison when he.
I don't think so, and I'll tell you why. That would be an expensive way to do that, and more than likely not like the right strategy. There's other, like, if there's, candidly, there's probably more nefarious ways to do that. Not that suing is a nefarious thing if it's legal, but I don't believe that's the case.
Okay, so let me ask you a question. So who do you like in the Super Bowl tonight?
Over. That's all I'm going with. Over. Over 48.5. It was at 110. It's now at 112. So I had to bet a little bit more to get to where I want it to be. But over.
And I'm going to do the under, so we're going to go against each other, and I'm going to go with Los Angeles. So
well,
we'll
listen,
see.
can I ask you a question if you don't mind?
Yeah, of course.
So, the New York Post came out. It was filed on Friday. It's customary for, especially New York Post, they'll have maybe relationships with the courthouse. When it's filed, it hits their system. Becomes public information. So I believe personally, and I could give the reason why in a second, is I believe that you were do you know if you were mentioned in the complaint or no?
I'm mentioned in several areas of the complaint. I just read it.
So, and I'm going to ask you a direct question. Did you reach out to the New York Post?
I'm doing an interview with the reporter tomorrow.
But did you reach out to the New York Post for the initial article?
No, never. It came out way before. I reached out after the article came out. I sent the woman that wrote it. I sent her
whatever it was. Yeah.
Huh?
Sarah, who's a reporter? Forgive me.
I don't know. Well, what happened is, the email thing popped up, and I sent her an email. I said, you put my name in here and stuff without talking to me first. You could have at least talked to me. And she sent me back a thing saying that, okay, that's what we'll do. We'll have a conversation with you. So I'm going to have a conversation with them. And I got to watch what I say, though. I mean, that's what it comes down to.
Because it's
and I will watch what I say.
Well, I will say this in your defense. Not that you need defense from me, who the hell am I? But I think the reason why you did not, if you tell me, I believe you, but they'll just reinforce the reason why I believe that you didn't reach out to her prior to the piece. They'll look at the complaint, they'll formulate the article, right? They'll look at something in there as a reference point, for example, your show, right? So I just want to look. I'm going to Google it while we're here. Okay, so generally, I'm just giving you my opinion. Generally, if I say, okay, hey, I have this from Lee Cole, it's generally easier and more authoritative if I attach you to a website than to a YouTube channel. So they're like, whoa, Lee Cole, who has a Lee Cole 3 show on YouTube versus, Lee Cole of mobtubers.com. That gives it more authority for the article, right? So I believe they read it in the complaint and they decided to add the website versus your show. Number 2, and this is critical, they did not put a backlink. If you notice, like it said mobtubers.com, but you couldn't click it. If they put a backlink, they generally means they spoke to you because they're doing you a solid. Now, your traffic still went through the roof, but just imagine if that link was live and you had to click it, you would have crashed your site.
Oh, it'll be live tomorrow. I'm not going to lie to people. If people want to put my name out there without talking to me about it, and this is all sides involved. Oh, well, thank you very much for crashing my website yesterday. It's doing very well today. And, this is what's pissing people off because they must have been pretty angry when they seen the website. And I was shocked. And then they go on and give the false narrative that, Lee put this in there. No, Lee didn't put it in there. I woke up, someone called me and said to me that, you got to remember, I have lots of family in New York. And they told me to, look, you're in the front page of the Post.
Wait, it was on the front page?
I don't know if that was front page or whatever.
I didn't get the print. I should have, but I got the digital version.
Well, it was near the front. I don't know. Let me rephrase that. It was up toward the front of the paper. I have no idea if it was on the front. But Gottis make the front page. They always have. I mean, the New York Post loves the Gottis, and so, but then you hear people saying, Lee had to call them. That's the stupidest thing. That's what stupid people say. No, Lee did not call them. And if you question me, call up the reporter and ask them. You have my permission. But I was a little bit disturbed that they did the story without talking to me first. But then when my website crashed, I said, okay, I'm not disturbed that you know more. So.
Well, so hold on. Did your show numbers go up by being in the Post, like your YouTube channel?
Right now, I have 242 people in here. Yesterday, we're pushing 4,000 on that show. So yeah, but you know what? My show's been rising. It's been doing really well. So it's not, any type of publicity. This is what people fail to realize. Any publicity is good publicity. And when you got these clowns attacking me like they were last night, keep on doing it, because after
who was attacking you? What was the nature of the attack?
the bald-headed guy that uses his wife, she was there attacking me too. So that's a new thing. And then this clown Johnny, whatever the hell his name is, I'm not going to even say his last name because it's not legit. And the guy in the car, the guy that's lost in the car. Yeah, they all gained up. They're all friends now, Tom.
Well, I like to disclose because I don't like to hide anything. You've been very good to me. I consider you a friend. Today's Super Bowl Sunday. You asked me to come on. I come on. I had some issues with Johnny in the beginning. We have since made up. And, I'm going to get pushed back for this, but I also made up with Tony. We had a good, long conversation. I know, there's a lot of misunderstanding. He said a lot of bad things. I did some things I'm not proud of. We're moving on. That's why I think
I'm sorry. I disagree with any of you guys making up with that piece of garbage. That's just my opinion. You making up with him does not look good, Tom. That's my opinion. The horrible things he said about you, your family. Why are people making up when these people are garbage?
Well, I can tell you this. I can speak for other people. I can speak for myself, right? So number one is I'm not as concerned about optics. Just me personally. Maybe I should, but I'm not as concerned about optics, right? Things got very ugly on both sides, right? And the way I look at it is, you know what, Lee, you know this game. When you wake up every morning, you got to check this channel to see if you're made fun of. You got people emailing me. You're getting threatened. You're getting here. You're getting there. Then you react and you do things maybe you're not proud of. And the truth of the matter is, it wears on you, right? And I'll just tell you this one. I'm very upfront. YouTube accounts for 1% of my income, but was accounting for 99% of my headaches. So the truth of the matter is, I don't know. Listen, I'm going to say this, and people can to feel however they want, right? Nelson Mandela broke bread with the people that held him captive for more than half of his life, right? So you know what? I try to keep an open mind. I try to do my best to give people the benefit of the doubt. The truth of the matter is, had private conversations with both of them. I'm not going to share the nature of it because I think it's personal. And you know what? I just decided to say, you know what? We all did. Enough was enough, and we came up with an amicable solution.
It's all, Tom. I understand what you're saying, but I actually feel like this. It's caving in to the terrorist. That's what it is. The guy's a terrorist. And it's just caving in because you know what, Tom? I can guarantee you one thing. Give him a couple days, give him a week, he'll be back at you again.
Yeah, but it's not that if that would happen, which I'm going to say something for the record, I don't think it will, then it wouldn't be from my accord. That's what I'm trying to tell. And if it does, it does. But I believe this time I don't believe it will. That's just my opinion, Lee.
Okay.
But it doesn't affect how I feel. So for example, you asked me to come on. Happy to come on. I'm happy to give my opinion. I always say you've always been fair to me, and I say I don't know if I said this on your show. I said it on my show when I had for 2.5 weeks. You checked in with me every day to see how it was, and you didn't ask for anything. So Lee, you're a friend, and I understand why you would feel that way. I just hope eventually.
And you know what I did? I literally went this morning and blocked all those shows where I can't even see them, where they don't even come on. I totally blocked them. I don't want. That's it. I'm done with them. You know what? I'm getting the numbers. They're not. They're going to do everything they can to come after me to hurt this show. But that one thing they don't realize, when I go in their shows, Tom, nobody in their chat rooms are in mine. Nobody.
So
yeah, because they won't. These people won't lower themselves to that standard. So I appreciate. That's why I appreciate the people here. We're at 260 right now, Tom.
Yeah, no,
I mean that's
it's a tricky business, and what happens is people become very loyal to you. Some people become very loyal to them, and then sometimes when you make up, right, you almost feel like betrayed. You're like, oh my God, I went to bat for you, and I didn't watch a show for you, and I even one of the the truth of the matter is. I don't know. I just look at it very differently. I'm not.
You got a fan. You got a fan. Tony loves me, hepatitis included.
See, but again, so you have some people like that who, again, that's another troll account, right? So you have troll accounts. With all due respect to the troll accounts, they have their agenda. They want to do what they want to do, right? And they're generally people that either generally stick to one side or the other, right? A lot of the time, the troll accounts get into the ear of the creator, and the creator acts based off, and not off a fact, but off emotion. That's why I think a lot of this stuff goes down. So when you peel away the emotion and you get to the fact, and somebody says something horrific about you, they might have did it based off opinion and not fact. So when you make the fact clear and you realize the error of your ways, that's how you arrive at a solution, Lee. I'm just giving you my opinion.
These shows reach out to you, but all three were attacking me last night.
I again, I didn't know. That's why I come on
All
your show.
three. They went from here to here to here.
Who's the third show?
Huh?
Oh, you mean Johnny, Tony, and who?
Don't mention his last name. He's a clown.
Sorry.
Yeah, but but that's what they did. It's like they're talking amongst themselves. Let's go get Lee now because Lee's kicking our ass, and they can get me, and I will continue to kick their ass. So it doesn't matter. All it matters about.
I mean, you're doing well. Numbers are doing well. Your show's doing well. I mean, a New York Post mention doesn't hurt. So I think you're reaching your objectives in terms of your show.
Well, I got a couple platforms lined up this month coming up too. Big platforms. So, but everybody's saying, is it Tom LaVecchia? No, it's not Tom LaVecchia. Nothing personal, Tom. It's bigger than you. So
I have, listen, my show, I say it all the time. And if you'd like, please subscribe. I'm 340 away from 10,000.
Yeah.
I consider anybody who subscribes to the show for them taking the time to subscribe and listen. I take it very serious. I try my best to provide the best content possible. Again, kind of going back to all this stuff, I'm a content provider. I'm here to give content and entertainment for people that I'm thankful that are willing to give me that chance, right? Now, obviously, your numbers have been going well. What's been going well for you? Let's talk about the positive. What are some of the things that are going well for you, Lee?
Well, the number one thing is my website's doing better than my YouTube station. I mean, the YouTube channel's doing good, but the website's really doing good.
That's a good move to have a blog site to support your show. That's I think that's a good move.
Well, the blogs, people love the blogs. Of course, you're going to get these people that think they're geniuses and say the blogs are wrong, but the blogs too are opinions, written into stories.
Yeah. Let me ask you a question, Lee. If I'm a stubborn Italian, and trust me, like how I got where I got wasn't easy to get to resolving certain things. Any chance with any of the creators there'll be a chance for reconciliation?
No,
they're
not good people. No, when you absolutely not. These three creators, no. And I will tell this to the people if I ever talk to those guys, I want you to leave my show I don't deserve you guys. The people that are here because they cannot stand those guys. And that's the reality of it, Tom. And when Butchie says something great here. Butchie, $5, thank you. They're trying to gang up on Lee. Not going to happen. Lee has a ton of supporters. They're underestimating Lee. They've always underestimated me, Butchie, and they're going to keep on doing it. And that's the reality. The people that come in here are good people. I mean, and this is what they do. There's no forgiveness in the way they attacked you, Tom. There's no forgiveness in the way they attacked Bay.
There's
no forgiveness.
No, which that's fully understandable. What I'm saying is, what I decided to do was kind of say, okay, how can I get this behind me, right? And there's a few different ways, right? And the truth of the matter is, and I'm going to tell you something, whoever I spoke to, like advisors, I have people that are important to me, people that I trust, and 4 out of 5 of them said, just talk to the guy, because more than likely that's the root of it, and put yourself in their shoes. Doesn't make it right or excuse what was done, but it makes it easier. And then you
put yourself in the shoes of the guy that wished death on your child.
Well, like I said, went back, I looked at the tapes, and although, again, things that it said that were absolutely inexcusable, were done, parsing on some of the words too. So we went back, we talked about it, I addressed each and every point, and I was comfortable. The other part is, well, what causes that? That's what I'm trying to tell you, Lee. well, what causes that? I'm like, well, why the hell would you say that? And they may share why, right?
Mental illness causes that. Mental
Um,
illness.
you
It's
know,
nobody else's fault. It's
yeah.
nobody. When you start attacking people's families, and they can say what they want about me, but I don't attack their families ever. Okay. The one clown that puts his wife in here, I attack. She's on the show last night, attacking. It's like he's putting her out there, like he's putting her on a street corner. That's what
Well,
it's.
but here's my point, Lee. Here's my point, Lee. And anybody who knows me, I've never, as bad as things gotten with people that I had an adversarial relationship with, I went after nobody that wasn't like the direct person in the family. Not once have I ever went after family. And I know it's not easy, but sometimes taking the high road is a better way to go, you know?
Okay, I like to answer Arthur. You gave them the tape sleeves. They can do what they want. Arthur, that's not true. See, you're speaking about something you know nothing of. A matter of fact, Arthur Stewell, I've never seen you in here before, so I can only imagine who you are. Yeah. No, I understand what you're saying, Tom. I'm sorry. I disagree with it. I think you're going to regret it. But you know what? I can understand your point, but you've tried this before, and it's always backfired on you. That's just my
Well,
opinion.
like I said, I'm hopeful this time. Some things kind of ran its course. This. Like, when does it end, right? Like, where does it end? Does it end in, again, economic harm? Does it end in physical harm? Does it end in lawsuits? Does it end in just an ongoing feud that takes a lot? I mean, listen, I can only speak for myself, right? Life is about making decisions, right? I have a 1-year-old, 1.5-year-old. I got a baby on the way. I have 2 other beautiful children that are a little bit older, but still need my time and attention. I run 2 businesses. I try to have a successful show, and you know what? Try to sneak in some fun, right? And time with my wife, right? And friends. And when the stuff that is on YouTube interferes with those things, those costs come too high. So you have to arrive at, okay, what's the best way to resolve this? And I find the best way to resolve this was the way I did it. And, again, maybe we disagree. But again, we're still friends, right?
Oh, of course. I don't judge you because you made that decision. I'm not like those people. I'm not going to ever judge you because you made that decision. I hope I'm wrong. I hope that no one ever bothers you again, Tom.
Yeah.
I hope I'm 100% wrong, but I'm going by track record. And that's why I don't think that, when that guy wakes up in a bad mood one day, that's what he's going to do.
Yeah.
That's what they are. I mean, we had 3 shows yesterday that literally used their sentence to go after me. One guy had 2 shows yesterday that went after me on both shows yesterday. But the funny thing is, more people watched my 1 show yesterday than his 2 shows. So maybe he'll start understanding that's not what people want to see. The only people listening to them are the people in their chat room.
I'll be the first to admit, you and I kind of reconnected a few weeks back because I think I called you or texted you. I said you had a really good run of some great content. You had some really great shows, and you were porting on thick. And now you have like a media event where doesn't hurt to get brought up in the post, especially for a show your size, which is fantastic. Your blog's doing well. I think you have more positive things to talk about than negative things, in my opinion.
I want to answer this. Doo Brown's in town. Lee, why did you give Angel tapes of Gene? I never gave Angel no tapes. See, once again, people, I'm telling you, there's more behind this. Make sure you sit back and watch what's behind this. Angel never received no tapes from me, and she would probably tell you the same thing because she is an honest woman. Okay. And that's the truth. But see, right now we have 274 people in here on a Sunday, Super Bowl day, guys. Thank you so much.
Wait. What was your bet? I want the over. Who do you? I'm not going to pick the winner, just the over. Well, who do you have again? Or what do you like? Oh, you like?
I'm going to take Los Angeles to win it by the spread, and to go in the game to be under.
Spread at 4.5.
Yeah, right. Los Angeles covers the spread, and they get the under. That's just you know what?
Yeah,
I'm not a gambler, thank God. So
you don't think it's going to be a shootout?
Gambler.
You don't think it's going to be a shootout?
Huh?
You don't think it's going to be a shootout?
I hope it's a great game. All I care about when I see teams play that I don't like is I want to see a great game. I want to see a classic game. You know,
Yeah.
and like the quarterfinal, the semifinals last week were great games. So if we can get some great games, it's entertaining for us.
I'd
You
like to
know,
see Matt Stafford all those years in Detroit.
that's why I want him to win. I want because he's still an older guy. This might be his last shot. So that's why I like to see him win.
What's he like 30-ish right now?
Yeah, he's getting up there in age, without a doubt. Okay, I want to ask you. So you told me the other day that you were going to possibly interview Karen Gravano,
That's in the works, yes.
and so do you see that being a good chance of interviewing her?
Oh no, it's gonna happen. It's just we're trying to work out schedule. What happened was I was actually supposed to get her before Sammy. She went to Arizona to visit her father. I tried to get them together, it didn't work out. And then while she's there with the family. She came back. I texted her I think on Tuesday, just waiting a response for the date. So we're gonna do it. I'm contemplating whether or not it's gonna be live or not because I'd like to do it as a live. I don't. I got to be honest. I'm not knocking if anybody has a wrench for me. I don't. I'm not. My wrench game is not as strong. The truth is a wrench. We had a few other wrenches that are great, but I feel bad like when you do a show and it's alive and there's a lot of people on that they have to kind of police the flow. You know what I mean? And then the
Right.
other, I don't want to have her on, and then just people being disrespectful. That's kind of tricky too, right? So I'm deciding whether or not to do a live, and then kind of the angle as well.
I have 3 interviews lined up, all very well-known people. One of
Awesome.
them is an actor that was in a couple very big mob movies. Uh,
Cool.
yeah, and I'm looking for. I did a favor for a company and got them a really big interview, so they've kind of paying me back. And there's a lot of things that go behind the scenes, Tom. I'm
There's a
sure
lot.
you too that we don't talk about
There's a lot. Well,
because
I'm just trying to
because
line.
people get angry.
Well, I'm just trying to line up some good interviews. Again, it took me a little while. I think similar to you. I think my lane is interviews, getting other people on, asking them the right questions, um, and again, try to make a meaningful conversation to see what kind of angle you could have, so people could see that person. Like for me, my Sammy interview I felt was a little different than others. Whether people agreed or not, they're welcome to. But check out my interview with Sammy. I try to ask him about the business aspect of things. And I'm actually going to have Francis on soon, and I'm going to ask him similar questions. But he's a business guy, so I'm just trying to get different kind of muscles, if you will, in your brain to ask him different questions, so you can get a different interview than the other 100 that they did prior.
Yeah, yeah. Hey, okay. I'm sorry. Yep. That was bad answer. I mean, I understand, Tom. How's that better? I don't like to be a lousy at interviewing. I want to ask you another question. When you interviewed Sammy Gravano,
Yeah.
how much pushback did you get on that interview?
Not a lot.
Not really? Good.
I actually got a lot of private messages from other creators that I never even thought would reach out, congratulating me, whether they liked him or not, but congratulating me on the interview and the style of the interview.
And how many views do you stand at with that right now?
Around 65,000, and it's like all organic.
People don't like Sammy, but Sammy brings views. And, this is a business, people.
And it's getting about 200 to 300 new views a day. So it's not like it got to 65,000 and it kind of like flatlined and plateaued. When I wake up, there's other 200, 500, sometimes 1,000, depending on what people are looking for. But it's doing well.
You know what I noticed, Tom, since this show's picked up, I used to very rarely get people look at my back library, but now when I check everything, it's like people are reading my back library like crazy.
Correct.
I mean,
But what probably happens is they find you from however they find you, right? They watch your show and then they sub, right? And then when you sub and you go back into YouTube, it might suggest old back library, or they might go to your channel, find your old stuff. So that's a funny thing too. There were other videos specifically when I had Sammy on and I hit let's say the 60,000 mark. There were other more popular interviews that kind of popped up because people were like, oh wow, I like this interview. Let me see what else you got. And and they did pretty well.
hey, people, I'm gonna drop a link in here. Hootie, if you're in here,
You got great people in the chat. You have other creators. You got Mob Rats. You have I think it's a Robey. If he must have changed his avatar.
If any of you guys want to jump in, but there's one specific person I'm looking for. If you're in there, please jump in. So Tom, I appreciate the fact that, people were making remarks yesterday that, oh, will Tom even go into Lee now that he's out there and he's involved in this lawsuit?
Why wouldn't I?
Especially when people don't know the facts. And that's what I'm trying to say. People understand the facts before you make judgments. That's what it comes down to.
No, but well, here, okay, let me ask you this, if you don't mind, because I like to
ask me anything you want.
I was watching a little bit of Angel's show yesterday. I do watch her show. I don't think she's a big fan of mine. She did email me when I was sick, which I thought was nice. She made like a good point to me about something that made sense. I would like to have more of a dialogue with her, but she's also pretty busy. But what I gathered from more what Chris was saying, Chris Kasparov, and what she was saying, is essentially you gave them a gift. You actually kind of aided them in what they needed to do. Can you elaborate on that? Because that part was fuzzy to me.
Not really right now, because there's more behind that too. And I got to be careful what I say, because I know that I'm going to be speaking to lawyers very shortly. And
are you going to give me the exclusive when you get big, or are you going to shop it around?
I've been through this lawsuit before, with my brother, and these things are 15 minutes. You get out there, you put your stuff out there, and you got 15 minutes, and that's pretty much it. Dude, I'm not going to bring you in if your name is the Drizzling Shits. I mean, come on, change your name. Yeah, I want to bring in the Drizzling Shits, people. Do you guys want to speak to the Drizzling Shits?
Be a better guest than me.
I'll tell you, man. So, Tom, do you do any lives?
I ebb and flow. I got really heavy into the lives late last year, and it's not my bag. I just have ADD. I'll read comments. It's just not my forte. I do really well. Where I excel is, again, a meaningful interview, relaxed interview, what I call a long form interview with somebody that's pre-recorded. But I do some lives. Giovanni Rocco, who I want to get for your show as well, the guy who took down the Real Sopranos, he agreed to do Q&A live. Like, I want to do more of those. I want to have like you on, or people that are either co-creators or great guests, and do lives with guests. Rather than kind of me be on there by myself and just kind of talk. That's not my strength. Other people do it, and God bless, and they do well with it. That's more of like a vlog. I'm not looking to do a vlog. I like the podcast guest format, in my opinion. That's where I think I excel.
Otis Driftwood, I have not had you in here before. You got to show your face, my man. I got to be very careful. People come up here and can do something to harm my show. It's unfortunate that we're at that position that we have to be careful who we bring in, ain't it, Tom?
Yeah, because you get some crazy people. I had BK Shallon's finest. You should have him on. He gets very colorful.
Yeah, I seen him on the Ball Guy show. He did a number on the Ball Guy, and the Ball Guy said that he did well, but erased the show. So I guess we know who won that one. Okay, this one is Lee, and I like reading. Lee was a pawn to snitch on Gene. No, I don't. Anything that I've done willingly. I'm not going to say that people used me to do stuff. I'm a grown-ass man. If I do stuff, there's reason behind it. I might correct myself when I'm wrong, and there's things that I did wrong in this, people. But that's who we are. We make mistakes as human beings. But, if people think that I'm going to talk negatively about Gene, they're going down a bad road here, because I'm not gonna.
Well, let me ask you this. Some people, I see like a snitch comment. Why do you think somebody may be calling you a snitch?
Who knows? Because they're with other shows and they like to call people snitches, Tom. That's just how we're dealing with thousands of people here. Yeah. And it's like they take sides. So they're going to come at you, but I'll let them stay in the chat room and say that. But they don't have no evidence, of snitching.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. I ever said on these channels that I'm going to go tear someone's life apart when I find out where they live and where they work? No, I haven't. But other people have done that.
Yeah.
Have you ever said anything like that, Tom? Would you ever think about saying, I'm going to tear this person's life apart if I find out where they live or work?
No, because because it's just such a slippery slope. Short answer is no.
Yep. And Vinny Green. I like Vinny Green because Vinny Green's straight to the point. So, Mike Hunt keeps simping hard for the officer at FBS. He could simp as long as he's being respectful.
I'm getting roasted by Giovanni Giorgio. It's a little more painful when they're Italian,
Lee came out trying to sue Vince McMahon. He is a total fraud. We didn't try to sue Vince McMahon. We did sue Vince McMahon. Get it straight. Okay. When that happened in 1992, people are still talking about shit from 1992.
Yeah, well, they're always going to dig stuff up if they can,
Yeah, it's 1 year ago. Yes, 1 year ago yesterday that my brother died, and then yesterday it's like no one gave a shit. They just came at me hard yesterday, and they don't realize that that doesn't bother me because of the fact I'm doing well. 295 here right now on a Sunday afternoon.
Let me ask you this. So there's like different ways to look at this, right? But like I saw a comment, and you got to forgive me, one of the shows, because I was trying to, check stuff out. And it said like, if it was the 80s, this would be handled a lot differently, obviously, right? But
Yo, Lee.
Hello?
Yeah.
Bro, you are so full of shit, bro. You talk.
Okay. See how easy it is to get rid of your driftwood? You didn't even get 3 words out of your mouth. You said, Lee, you're so full of shit. That's it.
Why'd you let him go? I wanted to hear why.
No, I'm not going to let him curse.
No,
on here. He can get me in trouble.
Then he get demonetized. Is that a frequent flyer for you, or is that a new guy?
No, you just give people Otis Driftwood. I'm at 312 right now, so you almost had a good opportunity to get that out, but you blew it. Okay. Yeah. So what do you think? Like right now, there's 312 people here. I never expected it on a Sunday, Super Bowl Sunday. You just never know when you do these shows. I noticed that you did a show with John A. Light where you had like almost 600 in.
Yeah, we peaked around 600. So it was a combination. Well, that's what happens, right? So you do it, and with him, he always brings good numbers. Once you kind of like get good momentum, YouTube will push it out to more of your subs, and people are like, oh shit. You also try to do it at the right time too. That was one of my best ones. And then it was a neighborhood of 600 people live.
Yeah. Okay. Driftwood, you just got banned from my studio.
I do want to ask you a question though.
Sure. Ask away.
Again, you kind of gave my opinion and have me unpack a little bit. If you're Gene, is this something do you fight? You obviously have to fight your complaint. Would you countersue if you believed in your position? Is this something you want to settle to get behind you? Where do you land on that?
Everything's about money, first of all, when it comes to suing. Yeah. And it's like you said, if you're going to sue somebody, you better have the money to pay the lawyer because you're talking $10,000 up front.
Easily.
No way. I can't.
They burned that quick. They burned through that in like 2-3 weeks.
Yeah. And the last time I spent a lot of money on a lawyer was when we were suing for my granddaughter, and we won in court, but I had to spend a lot of money.
Yeah.
And, there's no way that I'm willing to spend money like that. I actually defended myself in a case, and I did pretty well. And I actually defended myself, and the judge said, "Are you sure you want to do this?" But you know what? When I negotiated with the DA, I just negotiated with him like an attorney would do. People would say, "You'll be a fool to be your own attorney."
Yeah.
But sometimes you don't have to be. You just have to know the law.
Yeah.
Tom, would you defend yourself in a case?
Absolutely not.
Well,
Absolutely
Tom, not everybody has your money.
not. I know that I will tell. I mean, this is obvious as day. Representation matters in court. The quality of the attorney. I always say have a good attorney, have a good banker, have a good accountant. You have those three things, you're good.
So you have a good attorney, banker, and you got a good
Great
accountant.
attorney. I got a great accountant. Banker kind of switched companies, so I don't have as good a relationship there. But now it's different. Like even if like I would try to bank at a community bank, knew the manager. If I ever needed money, ever needed resources, ever need relationships, referrals, open the bank for you late when when it's closed. A lot of, but those days are done. So the banker's not as important.
Okay. According to the motto, all good press is good press. This whole thing will increase you and your show popularity. And yes, when they talk about me tonight, which they will do, every show will do it, it helps me. People
Oh,
don't
really
get
quick, Chad Donovan, who Chad's a good dude from Boston. Hey, Chad. The question is, how can like you sue Gene for 10 million when he may not have a dollar? So again, there's a few things that come into play. Number one, we don't know Gene's financial situation, right? He could have reportable assets. He could not, right?
We know what kind of car he drives.
Yeah. Well, I think says drive a Porsche or something, but remember, it's got to be your name. It's not as not as easy as it seems to recover money, right? And you could claim bankruptcy, and there's a whole bunch of games personship there.
Exactly.
But what happens sometimes, and again, let's just go with he doesn't have any reportable assets. Let's just work off of that assumption. What happens in that situation when you have somebody maybe with a lot of means for somebody who doesn't? It's called papering. You know papering.
Yeah.
They'll basically lawyer you out or drown you out because they know you don't have the 30K to put on a lawyer, so they'll spend the 30K just to bully you, and it's pretty effed up. I don't think it's happening here. Remember, Gene has a book out. Gene, might have, again, who knows what money he had from previously? Who knows if he negotiated anything? Again, what right now, if I were him, just in case, I'd be worried about asset protection because that could jam me up if any part of it hits.
So you're talking about anything in the future he gets.
Well, that's where it gets tricky because let's go worst case scenario for him. If somehow, I think 10 million is a high number, but let's just say there's a lower number. Again, typically what happens is they get a judgment. You can appeal the judgment. Again, costs money. Or a lot of times you could just claim bankruptcy, and then it gets a little dicey. The old ways of bankruptcy was like, hey, see you later, claim bankruptcy and call it a day. You could still do it now, but the laws are a lot different than they were. And then you could maybe get away from the lien or the judgment, but then you kind of jam yourself up financially for a while. This isn't good. This isn't good for anybody. Like if anybody thinks like, well, like I don't know Angel well, but I can't imagine she's happy about having to do this. It's troubling. It's stressful. It just sucks. And I'm empathetic towards both parties in a sense where it's just going to be ugly,
And there's so many lawyers running around right now when it comes to all this stuff, as you know. I mean, there's a lot of lawyers running around. And so do you think defamation of character suits don't have a high success rate, do they?
Well, remember, it goes by completion. So if it's settled out, those are not counted. But so here's what gets interesting. There's a lower bar for civil than, let's say, criminal, right? So that works in the plaintiff's favor. But there's a high bar for defamation. Did it injure you? And if so, how? And that's, again, I didn't read the complaint. I probably should, being in the space. It's probably in there, what the injury was. But, again, I'm assuming she hired a reputable attorney. They got to that number, however they got at that number, and I do think this is going to be played in the media, unfortunately, as well.
Oh, without a doubt. Without a doubt. This is just the beginning. I mean, they're going to interview me. And if they're interviewing me, that means they're going to interview other people. It's going to go on and on for a while. Let's face it, the media, the Gotti name's a big name when it comes to the media. It's always been, and it's going to stay that way.
Yeah.
When you see something Gotti, you run with it. That's just the media, especially the Post. I mean, the Post has been putting mob stories in for how long? They were like
Well,
a paper
as
for the mob at one time.
DC is your go-to contributor for mob stuff. He still contributes, and he didn't write the piece. I found that interesting. And then the second thing is, again, just my sources tell me that, and then this is not from Gene because I didn't speak to Gene, but allegedly their camp feels they started it, meaning the Gottis or people on behalf of the Gottis. It'll be interesting if that's the case, if that is true, because you could counter sue or use that as I don't know if it's a defense, that I don't know, but then you get into a counter suit. It's just going to get ugly,
Yeah. And it's going to come down to money. Is it a bluff lawsuit or is it going to be, we don't know.
Well, no. Usually the bluff is not suing, meaning like, I'm going to sue you. I'm going to, you send a seat, So again, there's things that generally happen before, like file a suit is like kind of a big deal, right? Or it is a big deal. Generally what happens is you start off with your, part and parcel, what's a good investment for? Good. 1 second. Generally, you start off with your cease and desist. Hey, Lee, I need you to stop. And here's the reasons to kind of puff out your chest a little bit. Now, those you can pretty much wipe your ass with, but it's letting the person know, hey, we're not fucking around, right? Then from there, then you can, say, hey, are you represented? They're represented. And then usually attorneys talk and say, listen, Tom's attorney to Lee's attorney, we asked you to stop. You didn't stop. We have A, B, C, and D, or they might not disclose what they know. And then once you're in a lawsuit, she's serious. I mean, it's that simple,
I'm going to hit you with a couple tough questions now. Are you ready?
Me? Yeah, sure.
Okay. Giovanni wants to know, why do you ask him about making up with that vile piece of shit, Tony, after he said all those things about him and his family? Tom had no backbone, zero for respect for this guy.
Short answer, like I said before, is it's been going on for a long time. Listen, if you feel, Giovanni, if you feel that, how do I say this? If you feel that I did nothing on my part, right, that I counterattacked Tony to justify not the stuff about family and not the threatening, but I also wasn't innocent in some of the stuff that I did. And I'm not going to get into what I did, but what I'm getting is Tony came at me, I came at him in a different way, and things just got very ugly. It got very tiresome. And it goes back to, and again, I'm a little older. I don't know how old you are, but that Tina Turner song, I don't care who's wrong or right. I don't want to fight anymore. That's kind of where it was. You can look at it as laying down. You can look at it as having a backbone. But at the end of the day, I care about my family.
That's one thing I respect about Tom. I'll put a question up and he will answer it.
Yeah.
A lot of people would run from
I
it.
care about my family first. I care about my health as well as my family. And then I care about my business and my friends. So so if I can align those interests, and if what I can do aligns with those interests, I'm going to do it, and I'm going to do it unapologetically,
Don Vito Tony was on the phone with Tom.
Oh, yes, we did speak. I don't want to say about what we spoke about. I didn't say to him, hey, I'm going to go public what we spoke about. So I don't know what I can say or can't say. I'm always fair, especially private conversations. But we did speak, and we did speak at length. And I was very happy to get the call, believe it or not.
And Bill Jordan, I like that you are aware of Gene's bank account. Gene has no money. This has to be pro bono. This guy is looking for publicity. That could be true, Bill, but how do you know Gene doesn't have any money? Are you his banker? I mean, do you live with him? See, Bill, this is one of the problems that people do. They come to assumptions. You don't know whether Gene has money. Gene kind of pulled off 2 robberies that were like 300,000, and the other was $500,000. Not that I'm saying he has anything left, but we don't know. We don't know what we don't know if say he had an inheritance. I mean, how many people do you know, Tom, that have inheritances and they don't talk about it?
Yeah, some people have inheritance. Maybe, again, we don't know the nature of his book deal. with this cooperation agreement, which I don't think it's public. Look at Sammy, let him keep his money. I don't count people's money, so I don't assume people have money, and I don't assume people don't have money.
Tom, we got a lot of people. I don't want you to think that I'm ambushing you. I'm not, but there's a lot of people.
I will answer every question unless I'm uncomfortable with it. But most,
a lot of people are like really negative about just making up for Tony.
That's from Silence of the Lambs. I can't. So, I think I answered that part of the question.
Yeah, he did, and everybody has their opinions. People have negative opinions about me. And listen, there was a time that Tony and I got along, and then we went at it, and then we made up. But after a couple times, I was like, "This is stupid." He would go out back on his show and start attacking me after he made up with me. So when it got to like the second or third, I was like, "That's it. There's no way that I'm going to deal with this guy anymore."
Hold on, I do want to. I'm like clicking like it does my show. Silvio Dante keeps asking about what are some good investments in our kind of an inflationary environment. I like without getting specific. I like gas. I still like oil and gas. I do own Exxon stock. I think it has higher upside. The company itself had some problems, but it's been growing nicely, and I'm a big fan. I also like if you can have you go Nabe? Okay. Yeah. I'm on baby duty, but as long as she stays asleep, I'll be good. Yeah. So sorry. But really, I also like. I know the stock market's been like kind of crazy, but you could also get some really good stocks that have really good high dividends that still have like growth potential. So if you look at like the price to earning ratio and it's under 20 with like a dividend that's like 3.5-4%, I like those a lot. And then if it gets like super inflationary, I would look at, which it is, because Lee's President Biden is going to be behind it. Is I would look at bonds, like higher yield bonds, because they're going to go even higher. And then I would also look at one last thing, any type of debt instruments that, again, when interest rates rise, because they will. So that's a short answer. Get into a little long answer. So you're welcome to email me, Tom, in the theory. Sorry, I didn't mean to go off the.
No, but hey, Arthur Stowell, I know that you're one of my ex-wives. Just with this, Lee doesn't have a good track record for telling the truth, so I'm a little skeptical about it. I'm just trying to figure out which ex-wife that is right there.
How many ex-wives do you have, Lee?
Huh?
How many ex-wives do you have?
Right now watching?
Got it.
289. Okay. Jesse, when you have nobody to talk to about, you'll be okay. I'm just hitting these things right now. I'm not looking for particular. The stuff that he said about my brother, that's why I would never forgive him.
No, and if you remember, that's what something you and I discussed. And again, listen, like this isn't. I don't know how to say this. Like I listen. It wasn't my intent to disappoint anybody, right? But the truth of the matter is, I have to look at how to get this passed. And again, there's no way to win, right? If he does this against me and it hurts me, people that like me are going to hate him or go after him. And then if I go after him and harm him in any way, not just physically, whatever it is, right? Then he's got very loyal people. They're going to go after me. That's the other part too. Like you got to kind of sit in this chair. And Lee, you do sit in this chair. You wake up every morning and, not just him, but like, that's the other part too. That's what people have to understand. It's not just about the creator. It's also about the 10, 15, 20, 30 people that are loyal to that creator who come at you on your email, on your work email, on your website. And then also like the troll, that's not including the troll accounts that they create that like becomes a comment multiplier. So it just becomes exhausting after a while. And then you really any negotiation, right? Any thank you, PM Justice. I appreciate that. I'm a fan of yours too. And he came on my show. We didn't agree on a lot of stuff, but there was important stuff we agreed on. And PM Justice is always welcome to come on my show as far as I'm concerned. But what I'm getting at is what people do got to understand. There's a lot. This is heavy, and there's a lot to it, right?
Do you ever wrench in Tony's chat?
No. I think I'm on block now, though. I believe.
I wasn't sure. I found that kind of hard to believe. That's yeah. So last night, there was actually a show that said that they're attacking me because they offered me a truce and I refused. That is what Tony's saying, and his side cast clown there. That's why they were complaining about me last night. They did offer me a truce, and I did refuse it because there's no way that I could ever be associated with garbage like that.
I mean, I don't. I didn't. For anybody that watched, I jumped on Johnny Mac show for all but 30 seconds because I was on daddy duty. And I just said, hello, guys, I'm daddy duty. And that's it,
Jane Perry, Lee, your show's not as big as Super Bowl Sunday. You're not joking. I'm going to stay on a couple more, 15 more minutes, and then I'm dropping out of here. It doesn't matter.
What are you, flirting with 300, right?
Yeah, near it. Yeah.
Nice. Smash that like button.
But this guy says, Tom, he wished your unborn child. We talked about this.
Yeah. But hold on. Again, this inexcusable, and I acted accordingly to rebut against that. And there's some things I did. Not everything I did was like public, And if you don't think, and I'm not sticking up for his actions, but if you don't think that I did things to get him going, you're nuts, right? That's why I'm not proud of some of the things I did. And I got to tell you something. And the other part is when I spoke to him, I actually wanted to say, hey, you know what? Because he shared some information. He was very reasonable. I was getting into, hey, you know what? These are some of the things I did. I'm not proud of. He didn't want to hear it. Like, let's just get it behind us and focus on a new 2022. It's gonna sound crazy. I believe it. Just my opinion,
Josie called Leah Chomo, and they are friends now. Laugh out loud. We're not friends. We get along. See, there's a big difference. And yes, he did. But once again, you got to remember, Josie and I has not fought in a long time. But if we ever went at it again, that would be it both ways.
Wait, you got to forgive me. What's a chomo? I probably should know what that means. What's
a child molester?
Hey,
yeah. That's right. Let me ask you a question.
But I get along with Josie. The funny thing is, people assumed I was closer with Josie than I am. Her and I respectfully don't know each other well. Just kind of being both in a space. But I'm cordial with her as well.
Yeah. And that's the thing. I'll give you. Okay, hey guys, I asked you to please keep the pizzas. Anybody with a pizza sign, please get rid of them. I don't want that pizza sign in here at all. Okay. That is like, to me, that pizza sign is evil.
You know what, Lee? I get fascinated, right? So there's an Uncle Bad Touch account. And not that like it's easy to, you can just go in and change your avatar and change your name. But there's an email associated, right? So I just find it funny, and hopefully you do too a little bit, that somebody sat there and has an email that's dedicated to an Uncle Bad Touch account because they want to roast us. Like, the effort that's created into these accounts, I almost give you guys like a lot of credit,
Yeah. Hey, Arthur says Lee is upset people are making peace. No, I'm not upset people are making peace. I'm upset because it's not going to last. See, there's a difference. You guys remember I said that. The peace will not last.
Well, I will say this. I will say this, and this is where people can take my word or not. It's up to them. But I can tell you wholeheartedly, if some reason this doesn't last, it's going to be a one-way fight because I'm just not going to care. I'm just going to move on and do my own thing and create content. And believe it or not, I got really distracted up until the end of 2021. But if you look at my content from 2022 on, and it's really only about 4 or 5 episodes, I think that's a 4 or 5 best interviews I've done. Mafia Made, Frank Fiorellino again, obviously Sammy, and that's what I want to get back to. You asked me to come on your show, Lee. I will come on anytime I'm available because you've been good to me. I'll be good to you because you've been very good to me. Oh, cool. Wise Guy TV, we got to reconnect because I know you reached out.
And Wise Guy TV, despite the fact that you said a lot of shit about me, I'm going to advertise your show up here because I'm not like these other guys. Part 2 of the Sammy the Bull Victim Hit List premiering 3 o'clock today, only on Wise Guy TV. And like I said, Wise Guy, he said some pretty trashy things about me, but that's cool. Maybe you're over it.
Lee, let me ask you a question. You're a little bit of a magnet sometimes, in general, with
Because I'm
other.
old. You know what it is? It's
Yeah.
because of my age. They think because I'm an older guy, I'm an easy target. But here's what they don't understand about old people. We've been through the ringer. You go after an old guy, get prepared for the old guy to fight back. It's that simple. But what were you going to say, Tom?
No, because what is it called? When I launched Armchair after John Panisse and I dissolved the other show, I was really like, I don't want to lose subs. I want to be innovative. I want to be creative. And I kind of did like, I feel like a lot of stuff against the wall, right? But then I also kind of like got into the muck of like some of the drama. And I felt in retrospect, that was at the time, it seemed like the right move. Because I'm like, wow, getting more involved with the community, get to know the creators, collaborate, that kind of stuff. I actually came with a collaborative intention, right? I was categorically wrong. But then when I kind of found my stride and got out of it, my numbers like started to grow and the show got a lot better. Just like I feel what's happening with you. I feel like your show's on the come. I feel like your show's on the rise, right? So because I was able to get away from the drama, that's when I excelled. And that's why I kind of want to share with everybody too, to the people that still don't think it was the right decision. This was kind of that last piece of the puzzle that I had to make peace and say, if we can dead this part of the drama, then I could really focus on good content and really excel,
Yeah. And I want to make this perfectly clear. Arthur, Sewell, how do you know that Lee did not tell Gene that he was recording Gene? Just so people know, I made Gene aware of every recording there was. I told him about them, and then we became better friends. People don't want to hear that, but yes, that's why this is not dividing or coming between me and Gene, because he already knew this stuff. He didn't know he was going to be sued over it. But actually, he did, because Angel kept saying something big was coming. Angel's threatened lawsuits before, too. Okay. But you got to remember, when I entered this arena, the thing that you were taught is to hate John A. Light, to hate Gene Bird, to hate all these people. Would you agree with that? Basically, they want you to hate all these people. How many people have built their channels based on John A. Light?
Well, Twizzler, I do. Really quick, I'm sorry. I'm pulling a Bay 8th. I hate it when Bay 8th did, but you'll be talking to Bay 8th and I'll just read out of nowhere. But let me just answer Twizzler for a second. Yeah, I actually specifically have 2 or 3 I want to point to. One is I did top side businesses going into 2022, ways you can make money staying at your job but doing a side hustle. And then I did top passive income hustles without having to do any work or little work, have a little capital. And then the third is how to start a successful YouTube channel. I did it with Jeff and the but I will be doing more and more. I'm going to do one on lending, on how to get capital for your business with Jason. So stay tuned for that. Sorry about that. To go back, I can say, so Gene Borrello, I interviewed on, I think it was Mother's Day in 18. And it happens to be the number. One of my people interviewed Jesse Sofer from Chicago PD. I think that's ahead of it. But I think it's my fourth or fifth popular interview of all the ones I've done on YouTube. So people like to see Gene. They want to hear him. They want to see him. And I appreciate him coming on. So yeah, I mean, we're here to give content, and people are very interested in what Gene has to say.
Let me ask you another question. Gene Borrello. A lot of people don't like him, but why do you think there's a few guys on here that can actually come on, and a lot of people want to see him, and a lot of people watch them, and he's one of them? Why do you think he's one of them?
Well, I've been very fortunate. I've interviewed, and again, people can get on me about this. I'm the We Push Back. People are welcome to. I have respect for We Push Back. but I'm the only creator in the U.S. that actually interviewed 6 inducted members in the mob. Patrick Bet David did 5, Vlad did 5, but I am at 6. Actually, soon maybe 7. Stay tuned. So
How
I
many
did
what are you saying that you interviewed? 7 what?
6. I'm going on my 7th. I'm working on a 7th, but stay tuned. This could be a biggie if it happens.
So you got to put me at the same level as you guys. I got about 5 or 6.
no, made guys,
Oh, made guys. Oh, okay.
inducted members. Oh, no, associates. I've yet associates. I'm probably number 1 by far.
That's impressive, made guys. I mean,
Yeah, no, I have a heavy interest in the space, and whether people like it or not, I'm a podcaster. I'm not an opinion guy. I do
yeah.
try my opinions where I can, and I want to get information from the source. Like, who else to go to about the mob than the mobsters? I mean, it's pretty out, and I'm an extreme guy. I want to get it from the source. So
And I'm sorry, but and one of the things that I find exciting, Tom, you want to know why these guys snitched. You ask them a point. Why did you give information? What made you do it? I mean, people want to know that stuff.
yeah.
And I'm
Yeah.
sorry to cut you off
No,
like that.
so what I'm getting at is, if you really follow like the lineage, right? And I know that yeah, Bobby Louise is going to be bigger. I really do. I think you're related to him, Chad, right? Because Bobby was a captain. Just Bobby, and I talk to Bobby all the time. I help him when I can. I think he needs just a little bit of more modernization. But I'm a big fan of Paul and his. But with that being said, yeah, I'm fascinated by why they got into Cosa Nostra. They got inducted, and the reason why I want to kind of pinpoint made men is these guys took the oath, right? And if you look at the lineage of, it got dry, okay, in terms of guys that came out. So you have, let's say, for sake of argument, Jimmy Calandra, who came on YouTube, I think about 2 years ago, year and a half ago, and then he kind of brings you up, if I'm not mistaken, Jimmy, if you're watching, I doubt you are, but if you're watching, I think he brings you up to the early 2000s, right? But then, like, okay, who else is there? Then you go a little further. You look at maybe Hootie, right? Can kind of bring you to 2012, but then you're like, listen, I want recent. Then you could look at Anthony Arlada, kind of in that range, in that area. Then you could look at Gene, was like the mid-teens guy. 2015, you want to know about the mob. Gene was a guy. And I know people don't like, a lot of people may not like A-Light, but their show, Johnny and Gene, aside for it, and I know people may disagree, and I know you don't want to hear his name, it was kind of Mob Talk Radio, was like the original audio in the space. These guys were the original video in the space that really brought it up to the next level. Even versus Francis, the Johnny and Gene show was revolutionary. So that kind of brought you to 15, right? Then after that, you had Pinici, who's a made guy. And then kind of around the Pasqua, which I don't think people think are credible. So the reason why Gene is really important, he is probably arguably the more important associate to come out in the last 10 years. So that's why, and he brings you to like the belly of the beast, Howard Beach, with a very important crew within the Banana. So that's kind of Gene's relevance, to my opinion, to the mob. I call mobologists. The mobologists are people like me, you. We like the mob stuff. We want to learn about the mob stuff. We're here for the mob stuff. And we have an insatiable appetite towards it. I think Gene's super relevancy lies in mid-teens, Bananas, Howard Beach.
And one thing that people have to realize when they come out and say, oh, he was not part of the mob, I would say this to you. He put Vinny Asaro and Ronnie G away with his testimony. And see, what do you think? Like, he just was hanging out and heard about these guys? I mean, no, that's not the way it works, people.
I mean, he had direct access.
Same thing with Jimmy Calandra.
Guys, yeah. I mean, his old crew. A lot of those guys. I don't want to say names because they might, but I won't. A lot of those guys got made that were in his old crew. And he had access to them. So it just listen again. You look at so I really try to be a sponge for knowledge, right? And I'll watch Justice Tech Pros, right, which is the antithesis of cooperation, lying informants. I'm not saying all informants lie, but I'm saying informants that do lie, whatever the situation is. And I do appreciate one of his points. He says, you know what? When things were good, you might have flew under the banner of that brigada. You leveraged those relationships for that brigada. You became wealthy off that brigada, and you got a lot of great benefits, right? But when things got a little rough, you kind of bail, you know. So I do my best to balance out all the parts, and I try to give the best representation of the situation, you know.
Yeah. And how important do you think niche is when I'll give you an example. Jimmy Calandra has a very good niche. It's one area, Bath Avenue,
Yeah,
and that's what he discussed.
yeah.
And I mean, how important is that to have some? There's so many people doing this now. I don't consider people that attack people on every show
Well,
about
so
any.
there are different strategies, right? I'll give you one thing I really love about Jimmy's strategy. He tries to go like an inch wide, mile deep. He is the Brooklyn guy, you know, around the Bananas. I think it acts as a Columbo's later on in his life, Lucchese's, but he can just really own that like Brooklyn. And I hung out in Brooklyn a lot in the mid 90s. He was since gone, but I think he could bring you up to the early 90s and the 80s. 80s Brooklyn, Bath Ave, you know, 18th Ave, 86th Street, probably down to Dyker Heights. He knew everybody. And there's a lot of people that grew up in that area, or like a guy like me from New Jersey used to hang out there. So there's a real interest in what he has to talk about. I like that he kind of stays in that lane because that's an area he's an expert. You know what I mean? So I like that. But then you have other guys that have shows that, and I'm not talking about anybody individually. So don't like pick one and say the name. So I'm not trying to throw anybody at the bus. But a lot of shows that they have content, but it's like intermittent. You know, it's like, hey, I'll do a mob show today, and then I'll do a show on this tomorrow, and then I'll have an interview here, and that's okay. But consistency always wins. So one, get a niche and where you're going to live and own, and then number two, be consistent in your content, and that's how you win. You know.
Well, Bay Eighth says, Lee, your show's doing better now because you had me on your show. It's never been the same since you've been on here, Bay Eighth.
Why isn't it coming on, Joe? Get over here.
It did take off. Bay Eighth came on, and it hasn't been the same.
There you go.
Okay, you got to make now Bay Eighth. You got to do that with your. You come on here and you make my show take off. Now you got to make your show take off.
There you go.
Okay, I'll just put if Bay Eighth. If you want to jump in, feel free. Don't be afraid. Okay, Sandra Guest, thank you very much for the $4.99. It's deeply appreciated. Okay. Well, I'll tell you what, the chat room is. I always get so far behind the chat room, and my daughter, she gets all over my case. You know my daughter, right? New Beginnings. You know. Lee is ready to accept you, Tom. He's opening up like a butterfly wings. Do you ever read some of these quotes and just laugh?
No, I have a lot thicker skin than people think. You know, they kind of expect me to be like a mark and stupid and like, oh, you know, like or what? No, like you know, for some reason I get it really, really bad. I get like email insults, like people that like show their name, like, hey, I'm insulting you because you're a piece of yeah. Like I get it rough, but like you know, it doesn't bother me.
Yeah. Okay, let me get that out of here now. Oh, I'm going to show you something real quick before we end the show. Let's see, I'm going to pull something up. Well, I guess I'm not going to pull it up. But anyway, I started reviewing restaurants in Brooklyn. And it was someone's idea. And so anybody that goes to Brooklyn restaurants and wants to review a restaurant and wants me to review it, and they really like this restaurant, tell me the restaurant name, send me your opinion on it. Go check the review today. What I'm doing is I'm reviewing restaurants in Brooklyn and the immediate area around Brooklyn. And Italian restaurants.
Yeah, you did LMB, nice.
Huh? Yeah, I did LMB.
Yeah.
And are you familiar with LMB?
Of course, they're square.
I didn't. It's been there for almost 100 years.
There was Google it. There was a mob story and a sit down over one guy stealing the recipe.
Wow. I mean,
Listen, I think Jeff Nadeau had a question, and I don't know. Jeff, can you come on real quick before we conclude? I know it's your show. I didn't mean to.
well, I dropped the link. If Jeff wants to come on, he's more than welcome anytime. Okay. But, since Jeff has started getting big, he's not as friendly with me no more. It's like he's become a big star, and he doesn't want to mess with the little guy. He's at your level now, Tom. You and Jeff can hang out together and go to fancy restaurants and talk about your shows.
You make very little money on YouTube, so you can't really afford restaurants if you're focusing on YouTube. That's for sure.
What's funny though? I make exactly what I want to make every month, and it's a little extra money, and it makes me happy.
Well, you know what I learned? You know what I learned from a good friend of mine who does really well? Hey, Jeff. He said,
Jeff. I really just have one question, and then I'll get off. I know you guys are about to get off. I'm curious about this. Lee, why are you – I'm curious and honest. I'm asking you this question.
If you come on here to start a beef with me, Jeff, this ain't –
No, I'm not starting a beef at all. I'm curious about it. This is God's honest truth. I'm going to ask you directly. Why are you recording phone calls? I guess that's I'm serious. Why are you doing that?
This is Jeff.
No, I'm asking you. Why are you doing that?
I'm telling you right now.
Your friend, why are you doing that? I'm curious. I'm asking as a man. I'm serious.
Are you going to let me answer?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay. This all happened back in August, and then I went to Gene and I told Gene about the calls. Gene accepted it, and that was the last time any calls were ever recorded.
Well, why'd you do it? That's what I'm curious about.
Because I had a hard-on for him because of all the stuff he was doing.
But now you're cool with him?
Yeah, very much.
But now he's getting sued, and your calls are at the center of it. You don't see
weird. Right. Listen, he knew he was going to be sued too. I warned him.
You don't see the conflict that doesn't bother you? That's your friend.
Yeah, sure. Of course it bothers me.
Okay. Yeah, I'm just curious. I was wondering, and you told me. Thank you.
No, of course it bothers me.
Okay.
Because you know what it is? When you come onto these channels, they teach you to hate two people. They teach you to hate John A-Light and Gene Borrello.
Right.
I'm never going to like John A-Light.
Right.
But I got to know Gene Borrello. And he's not the monster that people make him out to be.
Well, I guess my question, is he mad at you about that, or
no? Because he already knew what was happening.
Gotcha.
He knew a long time ago about the lawsuit.
Okay.
This is not new.
Right.
Okay. Angel's been planning this lawsuit for a long time.
Jeff, over under today.
I have a 31-21 personally.
Beautiful. Your mouth to God's ears.
Okay, Jeff, now let me ask you a tough question.
Okay.
You asked me a tough question.
Mm-hmm.
How come so many people feel like you're buying subs? And I don't believe you are, but you are growing, and a lot of people are going to tell me to ask you this. Do you believe it's an unnatural growth? Why would you say that it's happening? Because it's happening to me too.
Because I decided about a month and a half ago to start doing real content and content that people want to watch and people are enjoying. And other people, don't do that content and they want to make excuses. So look, I'm not here to attack anybody. I'm just worried about the content that I'm doing. If you watch, and again, Lee, I've said this before and I've told Tom this, whether you love me or hate me, I had a pretty decent audience coming onto YouTube. It's that simple. I started talking about it on my shows. I started, posting it on my Twitter accounts. I started just doing content. I started adding tags, algorithms, titles, all that sort of thing. That stuff's important.
And that's what I did.
Exactly
what you're saying.
You've got to take umbrage in understanding how to grow on YouTube.
Well, you said something to me that helped me. You told me to go in the back of my show and put certain tags in.
Exactly.
And I wasn't aware of that until you mentioned it.
If you just title a show Mafia Talk, well, you got to be descriptive. If you were watching the video, why would you click on that? You know what I'm saying?
I really quick, Jeff, let me jump in a second. So I obviously hold no weight because I kind of gave credible, factual information why Jeff is not buying subs. I guess I'm not an expert, but aside for Jeff having almost a 9-minute watch time, which you cannot fake, right? He has, an audience outside of YouTube. It's hard to convert over. I'll be the first to admit. But if you have Twitter, maybe there's a Barstool appearance, whatever he does, right? But I saw something funny on the other day. They were trying to roast Jeff right? He was on ESPN, right? Radio. And I didn't know that, right? My point being is every time Jeff jumps on an ESPN or he jumps on another show or he jumps on here, he jumps on there, these are big audiences that say, oh shit, I want to check this guy out. So media appearances also factor in. I'd even account that, not just the content and the views, but media appearances are probably one of the bigger drivers of driving, so like, and the guy was trying to roast, like, Jeff didn't earn his subs. He was on the radio and he was on ESPN. Actually, that's called earned media. That's what it's called, earned media. Earned media is when somebody invites you on the show, say, hey, come on. And when you come on, you get access to the audience. And being on ESPN in a major market, you have a few 100,000 people listening to you.
And I also do Greenville, North Carolina. I do Canada. I do Las Vegas. I do multiple different things like that per week. So, yeah, again, Lee, I just came on to ask you that question. You answered it. We'll see.
I have one more question before you leave.
Yeah.
Okay. Because you asked my question, I just got to ask you this question. It's important. The other day, what's his name from Philadelphia, Jeff, you know what I'm talking about, plastered the hell out of you and me together on his show.
Yeah.
He made very serious accusations that we're buying subs and stuff.
Yeah.
And he just did not care. And the thing that bothered me about this is that a couple days before that, he was saying we didn't buy subs. And all of a sudden he got mad and he attacked us and said we were buying subs. How much does that bother you, being that you're busting your ass and these clowns are attacking you like this?
Listen, I don't care. I've had, again, this is no surprise. People have talked about me forever. I don't care. I wish those guys the best. If that's what they need to do to put their content out, mention my name, then go ahead. I don't, Lee, I've told you this. I'll tell Tom, I'll tell anyone that watches this. I don't lose sleep over these people. Okay. But when you start saying stuff that is just not true, you want to call me fat, you don't like my wig, even though I don't wear one, I don't care. But when you start talking like that, then, I got to start kind of doing what I got to do. But ultimately, I don't care. I just want to do my content and be left alone.
You have a gift that I want, and that is you can literally stay away from this without jumping into the fray. And, what I did this morning is I blocked all these shows for good. And I'm going to try to stay out of the fray because I don't want my show to stop growing.
Yeah, I mean, there's going to be shows that's what they do, and that's fine. They have their own, ability to do what they want to do. But, I have a different type of content, and that's the kind of content I'm going to put out there. And people like that. The truth is, Lee, and Tom knows this, most of YouTube just wants mob talk. They like mob history, that sort of thing. So, and there are guys that do that, whether it's you or OC Shorts or Lee, whoever, or Black Camper, whatever. They all do the same thing. And there are other channels that do it once in a while. And there are other channels that don't do it at all. I decided to stay away from those people. And I was curious. I asked you the question. You answered it. We'll see what happens with this whole thing.
A lot's going to happen. A lot's going to come out. And I don't mind you asking me tough questions, Jeff.
People are going to, you're doing an interview with the Post, you said. I'm sure they'll ask you the same thing. So,
yeah, of course they're going to.
I got to ask Jeff, you have one more question? You have time for a sec?
Sure.
So Jeff, has the benefit of working in different spaces, the gambling space, different forms of content, whether it be Barstool or like here in the mob genre. I don't know a lot of other genres. I know like the business genre and some other ones, but I don't know of any other space where the creators as a collective are just at each other's throats. Is there any other common spaces or genres, or is just like, are we like in a cesspool in the mob genre? I don't see what's that guy? Shannon Sharp going after, Dave Portnoy. It's like, I don't see this in other spaces.
Well, the gambling space has it for sure. There's a lot. My former boss, everybody, a lot of people hate him, He's
but in the gambling space, are like guys like really roasting each other bad, or is it kind of exclusive
I
to
wouldn't
the
say
mob
there's
genre?
but you look on YouTube for everywhere. A lot of these content creators fight all the time, whether it's makeup YouTube or, car YouTube or whatever. I don't know.
These gangbangers that have their channels, you go in there and look at what they're saying to each other. It's pretty brutal.
There's
horrible
wild things going on, man.
But, And the gangbangers are a lot worse. They're calling people snitches where you can almost hear the violence that's about to break out.
Yeah, someone in your chat saying some claim said you were a bookie for the Philly mob. What's that about? I'm not a bookie. I'm a gambler. I'm the total opposite of a bookie. That's an interesting claim. Tom, you know me. I'm no bookie.
Are you gonna buy a mug from Fat Bald Sicilian's coffee mug?
Lee, thank you for having me on. Thank you for answering the
Hey,
question.
thanks a lot. Hey, anytime you want to ask me a tough question, you come on.
Have a
Take
good
care.
football Sunday.
Okay, bye-bye.
So Lee, drop the link. I think some people were asking for link drops, and we might have missed it.
Okay, I'm gonna drop the link one more time, guys, and that's it. So if you're gonna come on, you gotta do it now.
You got. I don't know if that's a real common sense. He changed the avatar if he did.
Common sense ain't coming in here ever.
No. I haven't been around him much. It looks like it's a different avatar, so I think it might not be a real common sense.
I don't mind common sense coming in, but he's an absolute simp for FBS. And he's not as smart as he pretends to be. So, no, he's not welcome in this show. Chicago Muscle's here with his regular name. Okay. JC, how you doing?
There you go.
Oh, I'm awesome. I'm in the hills of Cali, and it's 80 degrees already in February. I was sweating badly yesterday because I went out in my semi-winter clothes, and I got to bust out the shorts for the first time this season already.
God bless.
And what are you moving or something with all that stuff in your back seat? Did you get
No,
kicked out?
my small business. That's my antenna company. I get these on trade-ins all the time, and then I get to resell them for a few $100 each. So hence why you don't see me on BegTube constantly grinding for cash apps and creating false drama. Don't need it. I've got a business. Tom, you sort of understand that. Speaking of which, I'm going to give you one piece of advice, Tom.
Please.
I would not ever be seen buddying up to a dude that dissed 9/11 victims. It's one thing to go neutral.
No.
Hold on. It's one thing to say I'm done with the battles, but if you ever start collaborating with that guy again, even with not just with what he said about your family, from a bigger point of view, the public will, when they start seeing his other comments from the past emerging, it will blow up on you, and you have something to lose, unlike him.
No, which I agree, and that's some good commentary. Just so you know, again, I'm not going to talk about the nature of our conversation because it was private, but that's one of the concerns I brought up. So I'm categorically with you. I agree.
Okay, yeah, and for those guys out there, one of the other commentator that Lee always has a problem with, and vice versa, always says that guys like me and Lee are spineless or weak-kneed and we're people pleasers. Nonsense. You will never see me collaborating with that guy ever. I don't give a crap. They could offer me $1 million and I wouldn't collaborate with the dude that's in his car who said that about 9/11 victims. You know, there's certain areas where we just don't go. And so, you know, the guy that said that people pleaser comment the other day, he doesn't like it because I'm not trying to, send money his way. And he doesn't get compliments from my direction or a lot of ours. If we're such a pleaser, obviously it's going to go where he's going to be appeased as well. Real quick, too, with the lawsuit, I don't know Doug Anton myself, but I've seen his stuff on the media in the past. And if I had to be a betting man, and I have a degree in journalism, so I know a lot of this stuff with First Amendment law because I used to have to do these cases and mock stuff. You better believe he is going to look at probably Mob Rats Exposed and a whole host of other troll sites and content creators to see if there's a link between them and the Gotti family, even the slightest link, from here's some money, which I'm not saying she has or hasn't. And, best of luck to both parties on this one. But, whatever the links are, a guy like Anton, he's going to go through that and you are going to find out what everybody in this genre who's ever had a problem in Angel's way or Gene's way, it will probably come out. And here's the big risk for Gene, by the way. If they get him on the witness stand, which you cannot refuse the witness stand in a civil case, they will start asking him questions to close in on his stories. They will see his inconsistencies over the last year or two that were pushed on him on the Johnny and Gene show by their producers. And Gene is going to have to either fess up to one or two things, or if his stories don't match, they'll say he's committing perjury. He loses the case. And then they will go to federal prosecutors saying, hey, look it, you got one of your rats. He's embarrassing you. He's been embarrassed. He's gotten you a few times. And now he's committed multiple perjury counts in a major
Yeah,
case.
but you're looking at a few things. Number one, he gets sentenced in March, so that'll be cemented, right? Number two, a lot of these.
Well, hold up.
You know
That's a new crime.
Trials,
Perjury months later is a
Let him
whole new
talk.
crime, Tom.
I'm
No,
sorry.
let Tom get his words in.
No, I'm saying, JC, you know this. About 95% of civil cases, especially defamation, actually make it. I think PJM works in this space, so he might know better. But a lot of these cases don't actually get litigated. I would say.
Well, I know most of the time they're filed based on anger, and then a guy like Anton will go through and he'll send them. Here's all the stuff that I found, during my investigation of it, leading up to the first set of hearings. And then their lawyer will approach the Gottis and say, hey, here's what they have. Are you willing to take the stand too? Because nobody can avoid the witness stand in a civil case. There's no Fifth Amendment. There's no, I don't want to be embarrassed and only let his side take the stand and I'm not. No, they will both have to go on the witness stand. Angel and Gene will both have to take the witness stand. And then they're going to get ripped apart by lawyers that do not like either one of them. And you better believe they will start subpoenaing all their private.
That's my point. I was
stuff.
saying earlier, for you to prepare for trial, go to trial, even if you have, again, PJM Justice, I think, works for this type of firm. You're looking at 6 figures in litigation just to get to sit down in court. It's going to get ugly if they go that route.
Okay,
Hey, Gazoo, take the hike. You're a freaking clown. Every time I deal with you, you get handled anyway. So shut up, Gazoo. Hey, look, check it out, Tom. No, the reality is they probably will have to settle because most.
Okay, 1 second. You got to give me 1 second, JC. Jeff, you did come on and attack Lee by asking him why he retorts phone calls. You could have emailed him or called him. Yes. You know what? It's me. You're absolutely right, but it's Jeff. So we'll just accept it. That's what he did. I have no problem answering the question for anybody that wants to answer me that question. Okay. Oh, I'm sorry, JC. What was that?
All right, kids, continue, JC.
Well, no, that's what the thought is right there. Most of them do end up getting tossed out, or once the one side that's suing sees what the other one's going to produce, and vice versa, when it settles in a bit, that's when senses start to prevail, and that's when lawyers start to, figure, here's what you're going to get if you go forward with it, and here's what you're going to get if you think you're going to fight them. And once it sets in the reality that it's going to muddy up a lot of people, and I'm not, even though obviously I like Gene, as a friend, and I'm not, I'm not really against the Gottis or for them. I don't really have an opinion or a feeling about them either way. It's just, but I do recognize the reality of a lawsuit, and Gene is definitely at a bigger risk because when he's on the witness stand, he has a criminal record way after he's sentenced in March for this latest thing, Tom. It does not matter because if you take the witness stand way past all that and you commit perjury, that's a whole new set of crimes.
Also, PJM brings a good point. Like you may be suing, let's say, for $10 million. Yes, short answer is yes. Canada is more important than the USA, I think, but we'll get to that in another show. So for $10 million sounds like a lot of money, but a lawyer is not going to do that on contingency because it's obviously a high risk. So they're going to, you're going to pay your 30, 50, 100,000, right? The attorney that you may hire, especially like a Doug Anton, he already has a lot of publicity. So, I know he's a fair guy, so I know they'll work something out. But this ain't like hey, I go after you like a PI case, personal injury, where you take 33 1/3. You got to pay for these defamation cases because they're high risk, and whether you win or lose, you pay.
Oh, listen, this is one of FBS's boys. Lee, you will always grow as long as you get the money to buy those subs. See, here's the problem, guys. FBS spends most of his show saying I don't have no money. Then he spends another show saying, I'm buying subs. Which one is it?
You know, the another part of the suit that Angel happens to be correct on. I caught only part of her show yesterday, but she said that she might be a public figure, depends on interpretation of a judge and jury, but her son or the others, they are not. And that's where Gene could have some real liability, because he's a public figure at that point, attacking a private figure if this is stuff he's done. And that's where it's a little bit more. Angel and Gene, you know, Gene's lawyers could argue Angel's a public figure, and it's just big in Tupac without the violence.
I didn't bring this up because it skipped my mind. There is, and again, P. James, welcome to jump in on this. There's an aspect that you can argue, right? When you're a public figure like Lee Cole 111, you abandon certain rights, whether you like them or not, right? In terms of being in public, getting photographed, that kind of stuff. So if you're a celebrity, your rights are different than an average person. What I find interesting about this case, and I don't know if Angel spoke to it last night, because I didn't watch her whole show, but as I understand, her son is also a plaintiff who is a regular citizen. So, again, Doug's a smart guy. He'll figure it out. But if you're like, I'd be like, hey, you're a public figure. I went after you, blah, blah, blah. But then if again, this is all alleged, because everybody's innocent to proven guilty. But the son, if allegedly Gene went after the son and the son is a private citizen, that could prevent some challenges for Gene.
Okay, I want to answer this question, guys. Yes, he is, but there's also more behind that story. There was a lot of things done, conversations between people long before I came along or anybody on this genre. So this has been going on for a while. And so we got to remember that there's always a lot more behind the scenes than we're hearing right now, people. I get, I'm privy of hearing some of these things, and he's not as innocent.
Gazoo, I like it too, Gazoo. Because one thing I like about Gazoo is he breaks balls, and then he accepts it when content creators break his balls back, and then he's a good sport about it. I'm the same way with trolls. If they want to break mine, it's all good. I'll break them back, when appropriate. And
wait a minute, JC, you're a troll sometimes.
When I troll, though, I show up in your chat or Tom's, and I'll make smart aleck remarks, but it's me because it's under my account.
Richie says there is a likelihood this will be tossed out regardless of strengths or weaknesses of the case. This case has all the elements of a circus, which can serve as a distraction.
Yeah, but the only thing, civil has a lower bar than criminal, and it matters on the parties involved. So like a judge can look at this and maybe not agree with like the amount, but the merits have a very low bar. That's the tricky part. Many of these cases don't go to trial, but they can because it has a lower bar.
Yeah, it's right. It's preponderance of the evidence. That literally is 50 points.
This is what I agree with right here. I'm sorry, I agree with this. I don't care what anybody says. The lawsuit was to trigger the judge in Gene's sentencing. The courts are used to this. The Gottis contact the law in every case. I don't agree with the last part, the beginning part. The lawsuit is triggered to get to the judge in the sentencing. I mean, guys, I don't care what you say. I know what you're going to say. Law-wise, people are human. Judges are human. They see front pages. I mean, you can't take that away.
Yeah, but there's other things. Well, I don't want to say anything because he's not sentenced yet. So, but not that he did anything wrong. So, but I don't know. I would think that's an expensive way to. Oh, you see, I think that would be an expensive way to do it.
It is, but who knows what's. I think it's expensive just to do this lawsuit. In general, I mean, we're talking a lot of money once it hits the courts. And it's like nothing's free in this world. Hey, listen, I'm going to close this down. Tom, I appreciate you coming on so much. You spent 2 hours here, And we've been 250 to 320, 330.
Oh, hold on, 250 to 300. I do see some names that I normally channel that I normally don't see. Joey Electric, I don't think I'm as common in my chat. Beantown, Brooklyn Kid, Mikey Griggs, Jovi, Lenny Hunt. I know you hate me, but all ask you check out my show, Armchair NBA. Subscribe. Even if you hate me, subscribe. You can at least roast me in the comments. And if you like me, you're welcome to hit that like button and subscribe. 340 away from 10,000, and I'm looking to build a really strong community.
Okay, so go sub to his show if you have not subbed, please. Okay, I want to just say goodbye to you, man. I appreciate you being here.
Thanks, everybody. Enjoy your Super Bowl Sunday, guys. Thanks.
Okay, enjoy the game today. I gotta say goodbye. I gotta say goodbye to you, brother.
Yeah, take it easy. My phone overheated. That's how
No
hot
problem.
it is in California already.
You take
All
care
right,
of
take it
yourself.
easy.
Thank you for coming on. Okay, people, that's the show today. I hope you enjoyed it. We had a wide array of people in here today, and we were just around the 300 mark most of the show. It's greatly appreciated. And go to mobtubers.com and please check out the blog section. We put new blogs up every other day, and it's been getting a lot of play. At least 1,000 people a day have been reading it. Yesterday, a lot more than that. Today, I haven't checked the stats yet. Everybody take care. I'll probably be doing a live in a day or two, and I'll bring you more information that you don't have about this case. And I will be doing an interview with the Post probably tomorrow, just so you do know. Okay, take care, people. Have a nice one.